addition for the Oilers. The two running backs, Woolfolk and Rozier, allow them to get outside with some speed. Here he stretches it wide and then cuts it straight upfield. Good running. This is one of the things Warren Moon didn't have last year. He didn't have that exciting big play running game. He has it now.
2nd and 1 from the 37. This time it's the big fullback, Larry Moriarty, who collects the first down. Robin Sundline on the stop. Tampa Bay and Chicago now tied at 7 in the first quarter.
Houston offensive line, Marv, is just pushing the Dolphin defense straight back, and they're running straight plays at them. Sometimes the defensive linemen are getting pushed all the way over on their backs. The Houston Oilers offensive line is very, very big and very good. A lot of #1 draft choices.
Durant and Matthews at the tackles. Schumacher, Munchak at the guards. Romano the center. You might see Steinkuhl later on. And Woolfolk stopped by Brown and Bowser.
We're all right so far.
Dolphins lead it 3-0 on the 33-yard field goal by Reves off a 13-play drive.
Here's the offensive linemen. Were they all healthy? Salem, 2nd-round draft choice, and Steinkuhl, a first, are both out today, but when they're all healthy, you can see there are 3 #1s and 2 #2s and all young players.
2nd down and 7. And home to throw. Intended for Woolfolk, and it's picked off. William Judson, the right corner, on the interception. What a move by Judson. Let's see, did he step out? If not, he has the 6. It is a touchdown off the interception. On a deflection, William Judson. 61-yard return. And the Dolphins now lead it by the score of 9-0.
See Hugh Campbell, he's talking with Campbell yesterday. He said that he expected some mistakes from his young people. Says you can't put them through everything. You're going to have some growing pains. A lot of talent on this ball club, but they're going to make some mistakes. Campbell with good protection, just trying to throw the ball short to Woolfolk. Out of the backfield, throws it a little quick, and behind him, the worst thing Woolfolk can do is knock it up in the air. Judson right there for the interception.
Here is Reves looking to add the extra point. And Miami in front now 10-0 with 1:23 left in this first quarter. Here's another look at the return by Judson.
Judson had 4 interceptions last year and was voted their best defensive back. Knows what to do with the ball once he gets it.
Judson, in his 4th year out of South Carolina State, has given the Dolphins a 10-0 lead.
Now with Castrol, the motor oil engineered for smaller cars, you'll save more than wear and tear on your engine. You'll save on Prestone antifreeze, Simonized wax, STP gas treatment, Purelator filters, and more. In every 12-pack of Castrol are rebates worth $45. So Castrol makes things easy on your budget while it makes things easy on your engine. The Castrol money-back 12-pack.
Bob Bishop, pilot of the world's smallest jet, the Coors Light Silver Bullet. Coors Light, the right light one. The Silver Bullet. Coors Light Beer.
The world's athletes have gathered in Rome to challenge, to strive, to conquer. The world's athletes have gathered in Rome for the IAAF Grand Prix Championships. If it's special, it's on NBC Sports.
Miami's kickoff again taken by the rookie out of Northwestern. Steve Tasker, and he returns it 25 yards. For an update, let's get back to Bob Costas at NFL 85.
Marv, the temperature is up over 100 degrees at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. It's the Seahawks who start out hot, however. Watch David Craig go over Louis Breeden, the defensive back, and the catch is made by Byron Walker, 28 yards for a touchdown and an early 7-0 Seahawk lead.
And back at the Astrodome, the Oilers first down from their 35-yard line. And Moon goes to the ground again for Woolfolk. Jackie Shipp, the inside linebacker, making the stop. Mike Charles also in on it, number 71. Jackie Shipp, a #1 draft pick last year, at times appeared lost, but during the offseason, worked hard and has pulled off what the coaches say is a dramatic turnaround. He's a different player.
You see that a lot of times, Marv, in players. They come out of college. Shipp came out of Oklahoma. They didn't have much pass defense back. He had one drop. He just dropped straight back to one area. Not so in the pros. A little bit more complicated.
Second down and 5. 35 seconds left, first quarter. And Moon in trouble. A flag throw. Charles Bowser on the stop. And it is a holding penalty against Houston.
Holding, number 32, offense, declined.
32 is the running back, Stan Edwards, who was trying to help the quarterback.
He was trying to hold on to Charles Bowser. Bowser is an outside linebacker who in a nickel situation goes down as a defensive lineman. The Dolphins think that much of him as far as rushing the passer. And he'll rush the passer from a linebacker position too, so he's very valuable. Led the second most in the sacks of the Dolphins last year with 9.
Third and long. Time running down in this first quarter. Moon in trouble again and gets it away. He just did as he was met by Mike Kozlowski. Kozlowski on the blitz. A penalty marker has been thrown. And here is Pat Haggerty.
Intentional grounding, offense.
Intentional grounding. We'll take a look as he's dropping back to pass. Kozlowski, number 40, will pressure him from the outside. Now, intentional grounding is throwing a ball with the intent to avert a loss. There was no one in the area, and I think that was a good call. No one there, and he obviously was trying to get rid of it to avert a loss, and
it sets it back to an intriguing fourth down and 38 as this first quarter comes to a close. Miami leading Houston by the score of 10-0.
For everyone working to keep the customer satisfied.
This bud's for you. Nobody else can do the job the way you do. So here's to you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this bud's for you.
He's Don Shula, the winningest coach in the NFL, admired and respected by millions.
Sure, winning is important on the field, but winning is also important in the home, in the community. My religion is so important to me because it gives me a foundation. The belief that if you do things right, you're going to be rewarded. The belief that if you're doing things right, you're going to be of service to the community.
Eddie, how are you?
I think family and family values are the most important thing in society today.
Right.
The United Way and the Catholic Community Services that it supports here in Miami believe in families. They believe in family counseling. Families that have been broken have been able to get it back together. That's why I have such faith in the United Way. It gives to all different types of families, regardless of race, creed, or color. It's there to help the needy, and that's what's important to me. I guess that's what they mean when they say, it works for all of us, the United Way.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
at first quarter for Warren Moon on the interception that went for that 61-yard return for the touchdown. Seemed to peg the ball awfully hard, and there are some who feel he throws too hard.
It was just a short pass, Marv. He threw the ball too hard. He's got a great arm, and I think he's a young player. I know he's a young player. What he needs to do is learn how to throw it softly in different situations.
Will players come up and say, hey, you're throwing the ball too hard?
Most of the time, but usually it's the coach that will tell him first. The coach sees it before the player will come up and tell him.
All right, Lee Johnson, the rookie from Brigham Young, punting out of his end zone. A 48-yard punt by Johnson. And the Miami Dolphins will take over. And here is Dan Marino checking back in. So the Dolphins, as we get underway in this second quarter, 1st and 10 from their 46-yard line. Dan Marino forced out earlier.
Steps up, he throws, it's a touchdown to Lips. Lips had 183 yards in the opener last year against Kansas City, and he's starting off in fine fashion here at 85.
Well, you have Lips and Stowers on the same side. They're both drawing one-on-one. He sees Lips to the outside. He has one-on-one, 27. There's 83 on the top of your screen, and you can't cover those two receivers one-on-one, and that's the problem the Colts are going to have all afternoon.
27, Preston Davis. The point after is up, and it is good. 12:34 left to play in the first half. Steelers 14, the Colts 3.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence, become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
You know, when it comes to being a champion, size isn't everything. Who knows better than Doug Flutie? The main thing is you gotta be tough, like the small-size Ford Ranger. It packs plenty of V6 power up here. No other small V6 pickup beats it for power. And down here, there's independent front suspension. Real tough. Okay, go along. And the Ranger's cab is high and wide. Hey, do that again, Doug. What do you want, another miracle?
Aha, there's a thief in this attic. This skimpy amount of insulation can rob you blind on your fuel bill.
Fight back with the attic blanket from Owens Corning. It's the thickest, most powerful roll of thermal protection you can have. It can help you save money on your fuel bills.
It is an open and shut case.
Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
game is brought to you by Ford, who invites you to drive the new Ford Escort. Have you driven a Ford lately? By light beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And by Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential.
The main
land on your...
Today's game is brought to you by Ford, who invites you to drive the new Ford Escort. Have you driven a Ford lately? By light beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And by Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
Well, we want to apologize to those of you expecting to be watching Miami and Houston in action. We hope to have it rectified so you can be watching that play in just a few moments. We'll keep you up to date. Here is the kickoff as Anderson puts it in play. Robbie Martin is deep. He's going to come out. He's at the 10 and in trouble at the 15. Down he goes at the 16-yard line. An ill-advised return, possibly, as number 91, Greg Carr, was down there to handle the play. Ball spotted closer to the 7-yard line. James Brooks has scored on a 15-yard run in that, this is the St. Louis game, 7-0. And Seattle and Cincinnati are tied 7-7. Brooks scoring on a 15-yard run in that one. It's 14-3 here, Pittsburgh. They just went 7 plays, 78 yards, took 3:15. Lips with 5 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. First down from the 17-yard line for the Colts. That's McMillan in trouble. Oh, boy. They're keying on him. Let's move now to Bob Costas and an update from NFL 85.
Jay, as some viewers have already seen, the Dolphins have taken a 10-0 lead on the Oilers as Warren Moon's pass is tipped, and it comes down in the hands of William Judson. He goes 61 yards for a touchdown. It's 10-0 early in the second. Dan Marino with the injured left arm still not back. Strzok is in there for the Dolphins.
And for those of you expecting to see that game, we're going to get it to you just as quickly as we can. That Miami-Houston action. The handoff to McMillan. McMillan is across the 15-yard line. McMillan now has 6 carries and just 13 yards. Robin Cole, 56 on the tackle. In the Kansas City-New Orleans game, a Morton Anderson field goal of 55 yards has put New Orleans on the board. It's 10-3 Kansas City. Ball out to the 17-yard line. 11:22 left to play in this first half. Third down situations for the Colts up to now. They're 0 for 3.
And they better be careful on this one, Jay.
Boyer coming in motion to the wing on the right side. Now goes back the other way. Now comes back this way. And here is Schleister. Schleister throwing out to the tight end Boyer. And Boyer is stopped short of the first down at the 24-yard line by Brian Hinkle, number 53. Oh, it's punting time for the Colts.
Be careful right now. They're going to put some pressure on them. They almost blocked the last 2 punts.
Ron Stark has never had a kicked block either in college at Florida State or in professional play. This is his 4th season. Back to receive, Rick Woods. Stark gets it away, and it's a dandy, a high boomer. Woods all the way back to the 19. In trouble at the 20, out to the 25, 26. Almost stepped away. A 56-yard punt, 6-yard return. Frank Middleton, number 43, on the tackle. 9:59 left in the first half. 14-3 Steelers.
When I came to America from Russia, I discovered many wonderful things, like blue jeans, unopened mail, and light beer from Miller. When I tasted this light, I said to myself, what a country. Light has great taste. Light's also less filling with third less calories than the regular beer. In America, there is plenty of light beer, and you can always find a party. In Russia, party always finds you.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
No matter how hard you work, Right Guard can help keep you smelling good for up to 24 hours.
You work hard, you need Right Guard.
This is Brush Plus from Gillette. A shaving concentrate and brush in one. A brush to lift whiskers, a concentrate to soften them. A shave that is superior. Brush Plus for a superior shave.
Got to get up! Got to get away! It's time to Mustang! It's a Mustang kind of day! Got to feel it! Feeling in the right mood! Got a Mustang! Mustang attitude! Have you been aboard?
Get 7.7 Plus at your Ford dealer now.
The NFL plays here, New York. The Jets' engines are fired up, ready to soar into a new season. The NFL plays here, Los Angeles. Al Davis says, just win, baby, and the Raiders get results. Football's winning his team. The Jets battle the Raiders. The action starts with NFL 85.
Pittsburgh leading 14-3. Frank Pollard returning to action after missing the preseason with that broken left hand. Steelers have missed the veteran running back. He averaged more than 4 yards a rush in his 5 seasons. And the handoff going to Pollard. Pollard is the Steelers' most important runner, I think, Sam. Not bad for an 11th round draft pick. Clip Bodum, 93, made the tackle.
This is what they do best. Ball's going to go to Pollard to the inside. They're a trapping game. Now, a linebacker comes in the middle of your screen, makes an outstanding hit right there. That's number 93.
Cliff Odom with the tackle. 2nd down and 5 from the 30-yard line. Lewis Lips going wide to the right. Abercrombie to the outside. Just short of the first down. He got it to the 35-yard line before Barry Krause, number 55, upended him, and now we have a little shenanigans early on.
Johnny Cooks and Frank Pollard, number 98 and number 30, have just started the first round.
Do you think it'll go 15 in this heat?
I don't think so. In this heat now.
And we welcome you back to the Astrodome in Houston. Mark Albert, Bob Greasy, we apologize for the technical problems. There was difficulty with the satellite transmission. 9 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the first half, and Miami still leading Houston by the score of 10-0. When we were away, a Miami drive was stopped. Marino going 1 for 3 during the course of that series. Houston taking over, picked up a first down on a bootleg by Moon, then a 22-yard pass play from Moon to Drew Hill. Butch Woolfolk, who has run well, fumbled. It was recovered by Mark Brown, and that leads to this. The Dolphins now 2nd and 7 from the 31. This is Ron Davenport, the rookie from Louisville. Davenport carrying for the first time today. He averaged about 4 per carry during preseason.
Looked very good in preseason. His problem at the University of Louisville wasn't consistent enough. One day he'd be up, the next weekend he'd be off. So Shula's gotten more consistency out of Ron Davenport and really likes this big running back.
Has excellent outside speed for a big guy, 6'2", 230 pounds. 3rd down and 1 for Miami. From their 37, Stevenson to center, Foster and Lee up the guards, Giesler and Green are at the tackles. And here is Davenport. Off the slant, has the first down. A 33-yard field goal by Fuad Revez, and the interception by Judson, who returned it 61 yards. William Judson playing the deflected pass. It went off the hand of Butch Woolfolk, and he ran it all the way for the 10-0 Miami lead. First down at the 43. That's Moore in motion. Well, there's the outside speed that we refer to as Davenport ran into to a photographer out of bounds. Keith Bostic along with the photographer in on the stop.
Here you see the wide receiver coming in this side over here to make the block. Fullback will make a block here. He's just going to get the ball, run wide to this side. Watch the outside receiver as they come in and helps clear out for Davenport. Nat Moore with a good block. Clayton with a good block, and the cornerback actually carried in with Clayton. Thought he was on a pass route or something. A good hit.
By the photographer. A 25-yard run. So Davenport a factor as Miami now has first down at the Houston 31. And Marino able to complete. Mark Duper on the reception. Patrick Allen providing the coverage. And a 2nd and 3 at the 24. All right, we at NBC show you everything. A look back at the hit on the photographer.
He looked like he was leaning into him. He says, I've played this game before. He'll go home. He'll be talking about that one for a week.
And he came out second best.
not when he tells it he won't.
The other rookie, Lorenzo Hampton, followed up. The players call Lorenzo Hampton low for Lorenzo, and so fellow rookie Ron Davenport is now being referred to as high. Interesting how nicknames can come from profound situations.
Well, most camps will have nicknames above the locker. So you walk into a team's locker room, you won't see Strock or Marino. You'll see touchdown and stroke and low and high and all the nicknames of all the players.
And high and low have excelled here in the first half. Checking the scoreboard, you saw Pittsburgh with that lead over the Indianapolis Colts. Atlanta leads Detroit in the second quarter. Tampa Bay getting on top of Chicago, 21-7. New England 12-zip over Green Bay in the second. Recap at halftime.
Marv, I'm just going to say the first week of the season, you never know how it's going to go. The young teams are getting excited. They might be a little bit better. They don't know they're not supposed to be that good, so they might play better. And the teams that you think might win, they might be a little nervous, so they may not play as well.
Less than a yard. Play action, and Marino able to complete for the, let's see, Lorenzo Hampton, incomplete.
Caught it,
No, did not catch it. It was covered by Steve Brown.
It's a situation, a good situation for a quarterback and Don Shula to go for it on 3rd and 1 because you're in good situation on 4th down. If you don't make the short yardage pass, you can always come back on 4th and 1. And if you miss 4th and 1, you're turning the ball over deep in their territory. But I'm sure he's very confident that he can make this first down.
So the Dolphins go for it. 6.5 left in this first half. Nathan and Bennett are the running backs. That's Moore in motion. And penalty flags are down. Nathan with the first down, but we'll check the flags. Looked to be, let's see, was that Duper who was called? We'll wait for Pat Haggerty.
They had a defensive lineman jump.
Illegal motion, offense, offside, defense, replay the down.
Oh, all right, offsetting.
Here's the receiver right here coming across to call that on him. And up at the top here, you'll see the defensive man jumping off sides a little early. Evidently, the defensive lineman was going on the same snap count as the receiver was.
So it is a do-over.
Now what that does, you go into a ball game, you have 2 or 3 good short yardage running plays that you like. The Dolphins have already used their top 2 running plays, so now they're down to their 3rd one, or they got to use one that they've already used in the ball game.
And now Davenport and Nathan in the Miami backfield. It's Davenport slashing through. first down. Ron Davenport, the rookie from Louisville, showing his stuff here in the second quarter. St. Louis leading Cleveland 7-3 in the second. Kansas City over New Orleans. And Pittsburgh still leading Indianapolis 17-3 in the second. Miami first down at the Houston 18. Ron Davenport 45 yards, 5 carries. Short set for Marino. Intended for Nathan.
You can tell Marino, Marv, is off just a little bit. He's missing some passes. He's overthrowing a few. You know, I think if you ask him right now, he feels like he is not into the flow of the game the way he wants to be. When he talked to us before the game, he says, just want to ease into it, get in the flow of the ball game. He's been knocked out with that sprain of his left forearm. I think that may have shook him up a little bit. He needs to get settled down and get back into the ball game.
And he has got incomplete 4 of his last 5 passes. Second out and 10 from the 18. Can't find anyone. And it is Clayton, but out of bounds. Incomplete. Sets it back to a third down and 10. Despite the great year that he had during the regular season, will the disappointment of last year's Super Bowl affect Marino during the course of this year? Will that affect him?
I don't think it will, Marv. You know, he only had one bad ball game in the last 2 years, and that was the Super Bowl. Every other ball game he's ever played in, he's thrown more touchdown passes than he has interceptions. And here you take it the kind of year. You don't have that kind of year every year. In fact, he may never have another one like it.
It is a third down and 10. 5:20 to go. First half. Miami leads 10-0. And Marino throws for the end zone. Intended for the tight end, Joe Rose. Broken up beautifully. Jeff Donaldson, the nickel back, able to bat it away.
Donaldson's going to have pretty good coverage, but Rose has an opportunity to catch this ball, but Donaldson gets his hand in there and knocks it away at the last minute. JD, they call him. All right, JD.
And here is a 36-yard field goal attempt coming up for Juan Revés. Strunk puts it down. And it is good. So Revés is hit from 33 and 36 in this his debut in the NFL.
You can feel it in the wind. It's going to be a perfect day. And here's Ford Tempo, the forward-thinking car with front-wheel drive, precise handling, and the shape that handles the wind as well as it handles your family. In fact, Ford Tempo is so well thought out, it even makes getting to the picnic a picnic.
Look up in the sky!
Get 7.7 Plus at your Ford dealer now.
Some Air Express companies must have special training classes. Otherwise, where would they come up with their excuses?
I know the package is late, but there's a lot of traffic between here and the airport.
Excellent. Delivery by 10:30 a.m. We'll make every conceivable effort. Very good.
Got a man out sick and another just quit on me.
Wonderful.
There's only one reason to choose an Air Express company: reliability. And that means Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
You expect a hemorrhoid medicine to relieve pain and itch, but you get an extra therapeutic action with Preparation H. It helps speed relief to inflamed hemorrhoidal tissue with oxygen action. A special medicine in Preparation H accelerates the absorption of pure oxygen to help shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissue fast. And of course, Preparation H often relieves pain and itch for hours. When you choose a hemorrhoid medicine, remember, oxygen action is special with Preparation H.
America's Day at the Races, the Breeders' Cup, this fall on NBC.
to Steve Tasker and Willie Drury. Tasker, 3 returns, 74 yards, so this time it's to Drury, and he'll stay right there. They'll bring it out to the 20. Miami leading by the score of 13-0 off the 2 field goals by Reves and the 61-yard interception return by William Judson.
The Oilers have really stopped themselves, Mars. The second drive was an interception when Moon threw the ball a little too hard. And, of course, they were moving the ball 60 yards in 7 plays. Woolfolk made the fumble, and the Dolphins moved it down and got a field goal. So both offenses, I would say, up to this point, really haven't looked that good.
Down to 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Peeling off. Moon looking that way. Moon looking for Woolfolk. He's got it. So Butch Woolfolk, give it and take it. He goes 80 yards to bring the Oilers back in it.
You can be sure that Woolfolk wanted to do something big, and that man right there threw that ball as well as you can possibly throw it. Didn't overthrow it, didn't throw it too hard as he has a tendency to do on some long passes, and Woolfolk beat his man one-on-one.
Butch Woolfolk, acquired from the Giants last March. 2 years ago, ran for 800 yards. Last year, a rough one. Butch injury hit, carried only 40 times for 92 yards and looking to turn it around here with Houston. And Zendejas has the kick blocked. Now Zendejas working with Steve Tasker as the holder for the very first time under game conditions. And perhaps that a factor. Doug Betters getting a piece of it.
Look right up the middle. Couldn't see who got it. It didn't look to me to be the kick that low. Just somebody got some penetration and got their hand up. Doug Betters on the block. We'll be right back.
This Bud's for everyone who sprays it, and lays it on smooth. Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser. For all you do. This Bud's for you.
We improved the new Ford Escort in a lot of different areas. We improved it in the area of performance with quicker acceleration. We improved it in the area of efficiency with better gas mileage. We even improved it in the area of comfort, not to mention just about every other area, too, which is quite impressive for a car already the bestseller in this area.
Get 7.7 Plus at your Ford dealer now.
I can trade in this old TV on a new Curtis Mathis.
Curtis Mathis National Trade-In Days are on.
I can trade in this TV on a new Curtis Mathis?
Bring in your old TV to your Curtis Mathis Home Entertainment Center now and get up to $300 off on a stereo, TV, big screen, VCR, or camera. All with our exclusive 4-year warranty and easy monthly payments.
Trade in this TV?
It's almost as old as he is.
The NFL plays here, New England. Champagne Tony Eason commands the Patriot attack as they march into venerable Soldier Field.
The NFL plays here, Chicago.
The end zone is Peyton's place for the league's all-time rushing king.
The Patriots battle the Bears. The action starts with NFL 85.
Interesting with number 33, Mike Rozier, in the shadows of Butch Woolfolk. It is Woolfolk who has been the Houston offense thus far today, and Rozier has not seen any action. 13-6 with that extra point attempt blocked by Doug Betters. Miami with the lead, and here is Tony Zendejas kicking away. Lorenzo Hampton out to the 10. To to the 20-yard line. A 22-yard return by Hampton. And let's take another look at Warren Moon tossing for 80 to Butch Woolfolk.
What the Oilers did here is put both wide receivers to his right and put Woolfolk back in motion. That gets him on the strong safety, Mike Kozlowski. Now you see Kozlowski just doesn't have the speed to keep up with Woolfolk, something that they probably saw in the films this week, waited for the right time, and it worked as well as it could possibly work.
And for Warren Moon, his longest completion in the NFL. For Butch Woolfolk, his longest reception. First down from the 20. 4:42 left, first half, as Dan Marino checks it out. Marino getting the time and has Matt Moore, but a flag is thrown. Steve Brown on the coverage. Nat Moore, who had talked about retiring after last season, but fans began chanting one more year. And here's Nat right back.
Illegal contact, defense.
Well, Nat caught 43 passes last year, Marv, as a third wide receiver. Earlier in his career, he was in there.
Illegal contact, number 24, decline, first down.
Steve Brown on the illegal contact, but earlier in his career, Nat was complaining because he was in on first down so much, having to do all the heavy blocking. Now he's got the gravy part of it. He only goes in when they're ready to throw the football.
And it's a first down at the 44-yard line. And here's Moore peeling off. Intercepted from Marino is picked off by Brown. The pass intended for Clayton. Steve Brown in his third year out of Oregon.
Don Shula is, as we take a look right here, the receiver's going to come down and break to the outside. Brown is going to come from the inside, covering this man as he comes across. And you'll see Brown coming across to cover Nat Moore, reads it very well and cuts right in front of the receiver and just can't keep his balance and stay in bounds, or he would have had 6 points.
And Marino only 6 for 13, intercepted, giving the ball to Houston at the Miami 44-yard line. And Rozier on his first carry in the NFL picks up the first down.
They've got the best of both worlds with Rozier and also Woolfolk. Woolfolk is the starter. Rozier is the Heisman Trophy, ex-Heisman Trophy winner, as we've seen. A shiftier runner, not the speed that Woolfolk has, but I think the psychology of this situation is that Woolfolk will start, Rozier will come in and play, because Woolfolk seems to react better to starting than Rozier does to being the backup.
And a first down for Houston at the Miami 34. Seattle off to a 21-7 lead. Kansas City over New Orleans 20-3 in the second quarter. All the scores and highlights. Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Pete Axtell at NFL 85 coming up at halftime. Just under 4 minutes left in this first half. Marv Albert and Bob Greasy from Houston. Acceleration by Rozier. And he's stopped by the combination of Barnett and Beaucamper. And here in Houston, they are pronouncing it as Rozier. Some tempers flare, but nothing serious. During the course of his Nebraska days and USFL days, many pronounce it as Rozier, but they tell us here it is Rozier. Which reminds me of another pronunciation concerning the Houston Oilers that we'll get to in just a moment. Second out and 7 from the 31. Miami leading it 13-6. And it's Rozier for a yard. Mike Charles, Robin Sendline on the stop. Middle guard Brian Soche of the Houston Oilers used to be known as Brian Socha. However, he got married, told during the course of the offseason, and his wife suddenly informed the Oiler front office it is Soche. So take that, Bob Greasy.
Yeah. Okay, Mom.
Albert. Third down and 5. 2.5 left in this first half. looking for Rozier, and he's got it. Another first down. Kozlowski on the stop.
This is the same play, similar to the same play that they scored on, the long pass with Woolfolk. This time, the halfback goes in motion the other way, and the previous play for the touchdown, the halfback took off downfield. Now Kozlowski, looking deep, plays off of him. They throw the short one for the first down. Obviously, they want to get their speedy wide halfback on Kozlowski.
Hill to the left, Smith right. First down at the 22. This is Moriarty. And it's the strong safety, Kozlowski, on the tackle. As we approach 2 minutes remaining in this first half, Larry Moriarty, in his third season out of Notre Dame, back with the Oilers following that contract holdout. 2 minutes left in this first half. The Dolphins lead the Oilers 13-6.
When it's freezing cold and the sirens blow and the mercury's down to 20 below, you don't need problems, you gotta go. That's why America goes with Prestone.
A fresh fill of Prestone 2 antifreeze fights freeze up and rust up too. A radiator could look this bad after just 10,000 miles of driving on weak, neglected antifreeze, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. Get the Prestone difference.
America goes and goes and goes with Prestone.
The interception by Steve Brown. Houston on the march once again as we check the scoreboard. Giants still leading the Eagles 14-0 in the second. 49ers over Minnesota 7-0 second quarter. St. Louis 7, Cleveland 3 in the second. Kansas City in front of New Orleans 20-3 second quarter. And Pittsburgh now over Indianapolis 24-3 in the second. Detroit and Atlanta tied at 14. Tampa Bay and Chicago. Tampa Bay by 7 in the second quarter, so the Bears have come back. And New England leading Green Bay 12-6 in the second. Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Pete Axtell, the Animal House version of halftime coming up just ahead. Second down and 6 for the Oilers at the Miami 18. And Warren Moon now, following his conversation with Hugh Campbell, makes his way back.
They've had some problems, Marv, scoring when they get down into this green zone, as a lot of teams call it, inside the 20-yard line. Only 6 touchdowns in 5 preseason games. And the touchdown that was scored here, obviously, was the long pass to Woolfolk. But it's a different offense when you get down in here. You have to have, sometimes you have to throw the ball quickly to get it in there, a rifle arm, which Moon certainly has, and sometimes you have to lay it over a defensive back.
Do you think Moon throws the ball too hard at times?
At times, I think he does. You have to have a great arm to get the ball in certain situations. But there are other situations, on a long pass, for instance, when you can throw the ball a little bit higher to give the receiver a margin for error. If it's not perfect, he can run under it and make the catch. But there are other times you need to throw it hard, and Moon will figure those times out.
Anybody ever tell you that you threw the ball too hard?
No, nobody ever told me I threw the ball too hard.
Second down and 6. Moon was trying to get the crowd into it. Off a delay. Rozier stopped by Bowser.
The other thing about this area of the field, you don't have that much room to work with. You've got the end zone, so you've got maybe 20, 25 yards. So you don't have the deep threat that you have. So the defenses are tougher, probably play man-to-man. So you need a quick, shifty back that can run sharp patterns down in this area. Tim Smith has good moves. You might see him going to him this time.
All right, Smith is to the left side. The lone deep back is Stan Edwards.
Here comes a blitz. They're up there faking, or they're going to come.
And we get the flag. Too much time in that game.
What we were doing up here, looking at that defense, Warren Moon says, well, we're up here just looking at it. We can second guess. Moon was saying, do I need to check off, or are they faking? Do I leave the play on? Dolphins were successful in confusing him that time.
Delay of game. Offense. Still
a scary situation, too, as a quarterback. When you come up to the line of scrimmage, all 11 defensive men are right up there. These defensive backs and linebackers are acting like they're coming. There's fire in their eyes. There's smoke coming out of their ear holes. You know, are they really coming or aren't they? Do I check or don't I?
And it's a 3rd down and 8 for Moon. Just under a minute left in this first half. Take it out of bounds. Paul Langford in pursuit. We are down to 47 seconds remaining in this first half. And that's not a good sign. Last year, Warren Moon, number 3 man in rushing. Although the feeling was that because of his mobility, the Oilers should have used the rollout more frequently, did not, but this year they have changed their philosophy. There's more designed in that direction.
And I think it's good to have that design rollout. Some teams call it a dash, some call it a wheel where you go back in the pocket and take off, but you don't want to do it all the time.
35-yard attempt for Tony Zendejas out of Nevada, Reno. And this one is good. And the holder, Steve Tasker, has to feel better about that. Tasker and Zendejas working together under game conditions for the very first time. Tasker, the rookie out of Northwestern, they had a problem in that first extra point attempt. It was blocked by Doug Betters, but this one is right through.
Good protection, good snap, good quick set. Yes, sir. Right through there.
And the Dolphins now lead it 13-9. Tony Zendejas spent the last 2 years with the Los Angeles Express of the USFL. He was acquired from the Redskins for a future draft pick. Zendejas in that battle with the veteran Mark Mosley, and surprisingly, the Redskins went with Mosley. He won it.
Well, he's in a battle here, too, with Johnson, the rookie 5th-round draft choice, who is the punter. He punts barefooted, but he also can kick off. And Hugh Campbell was telling us yesterday that he really didn't know who to have kick off. Zendejas can kick him into the end zone. Johnson can kick him into the end zone. He didn't want to hurt either psychologically, so he said he brought them both over to the Astrodome and told them that we're going to have a kickoff and see who can kick him. They tied. They all kicked him into the end zone, same hang time. So he was taking them back to camp, and he looked over at it and says, we may have to have a tackling drill to decide who's going to kick off. They both pointed at each other and said, he can have it.
That's unusual for a punter to kick off, and the Houston punter, Lee Johnson, can boom them, as can Zendejas. And this is Zendejas getting set to boot. Lorenzo Hampton, the deep man for Miami. And a good kick. Hampton to the 10. Nice change of direction. Lorenzo Hampton showing us terrific balance. Good return, and we have 34 seconds remaining in this first half. A 38-yard return by the rookie from Florida, Lorenzo Hampton.
Marv, they like this young man, Hampton. Not only can he return kickoffs, but he's played very well in the first half. Gives him that extra burst, that slashing style of running and that big play out of the backfield.
Dan Marino, not impressive stats. And up and down first half. And he is now 6 for 14. The intended receiver was Mark Clayton.
Seen Dan Marino play the last 2 years a lot, Marv, and this is the worst I've seen him throw. It's obvious that his timing is not there. He's a little bit rusty. I think he feels like he's not in the flow of the ball game. He talked about wanting to ease into it, and obviously he's having some problems right now.
A lot of guys were rooting for Marino to come out strong so they could say, hey, we don't need preseason.
That's exactly. It was set training camp back 20 years if he would have come out here just tore it up.
2nd and 10 from the 34. A bullet for Moore. Tackled at the 40 by Patrick Allen, the right quarterback. And the clock is running down to 15 seconds. 3rd down and 4. Again, it's Moore. and big move by Moore. And we get a whistle to stop the clock with 2 seconds remaining. So Nat Moore picks up the first down. And it's a first down at midfield for the Dolphins. Quick check along the sideline with Coach Don Shula. A reminder, coming up next right here on NBC Sports, the second half of our doubleheader. Most of you will see the LA Raiders go up against the New York Jets, plus regional action. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Your team plays here. That'll be the second half of the doubleheader. And at halftime, a review of what is going on opening day around the NFL. Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, and Pete Axtell as we switch to NFL 85. And that is Houston head coach Hugh Campbell, who at one point was known as Bluey Huey in his pass receiving days. Out of Washington State, played for the most part up in Canada, although he was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. Bluey Huey.
I wonder who gave him that nickname.
2 seconds remaining in the half. From midfield.
Oilers are back on their own 15-yard line trying to defend Marino.
And here is Marino throwing the home run. And let's see. Oh, that is dangerous.
It was close.
From the Houston point of view, as time has run out. So at halftime, and the Oilers hearing it. A receptive crowd here at the Astrodome as they appreciate the fact that Houston has been able to come back, and they trail Miami at the half by only 4, 13-9.
Well, I think that man right there has to go in and regroup. Dan Marino, it was a tough decision, I think, for Don Shula to go ahead and start him. He had only had 1 week's work. He did this last year, actually, Marv. He had a dislocated finger, didn't play the last 3 preseason games, and came into the first game of the regular season against the Redskins and threw for 5 touchdown passes. The difference this year was he was not in the meetings at training camp and didn't get the mental preparation that he missed by not being there.
Can you see Shula looking Strzok's way in the second half?
I don't think so. Not right off the bat. I think he's going to go with Marino pretty much of the way just to give him some working confidence. If he comes out and really plays poorly, you might think he'd go with Strzok. But if he comes out and starts moving the ball and clicking a little bit and gets his feel, I think you go see him the entire second half.
2 major mistakes by the Oilers really hurt them. The trailing only 13-9. It could be a completely different situation. We have the interception by Judson. He went 61, and then Woolfolk on the fumble.
Well, neither offenses look very good.
So at halftime, it's Miami leading Houston by the count of 13-9.
I'm Father Hardstep with a little fatherly advice. Wednesday night, Helltown is the place to be. Just look.
It's the place where anything can happen.
The joint's going crazy.
But Robert Blake's got a grip on it all.
God ain't your problem. I am.
He'll go up against anyone to protect his people.
Please, God, take care of him.
In the series premiere of Helltown, Wednesday.
When I started my practice, I made sure to invest in the right equipment and the right bank.
Southwest Lubbock National Bank.
I needed an experienced banker I could depend on, but I got more at Southwest Lubbock National. They make sure more than one person knows me and what I need. When it comes to my practice, I need a bank that sets its standards of quality as high as my own.
Southwest Lubbock National Bank. The quality of banking you deserve.
Performance means everything in football. From the first play on opening day to the last touchdown of the championship game, a team has to perform all season. The same goes for all-season radials, like Michelin XA4. The XA4 performs in the heat of summer on rain-soaked roads and snow-covered highways. See your authorized Michelin dealer for the champion of all-season radials, Michelin XA4, because so much is riding on your tires.
Look to the original Shook Tire Company, downtown Lubbock and 50th near Boston.
Christy Murphy tonight at 10 with News 11 Nightcap.
Hi,
everybody. Bob Costas back in New York. We understand that Pete Rose has a base hit today at Wrigley Field in Chicago. He is one away from tying Ty Cobb for the all-time record for most total hits. Now let's move on to football. Miami and Houston, 13-9 is the score there. Let's take a look at some of the highlights as the Dolphins hold a 4-point lead at halftime. Those of you watching that game saw Dan Marino go out early with an injured left arm. He was replaced by Don Strock. Now with Miami in front 3-0, Warren Moon goes to the air. He wants to hit the former Giant Butch Woolfolk. It is off his hands and into the arms of William Judson. Judson gets up and gallops 61 yards for a touchdown, which gives the Dolphins a 10-0 lead at the end of the first quarter. But Moon will come right back and get the Oilers on the board. He will look for Woolfolk once again, and watch this play, which will cover 80 yards. Moon will throw it at least 50 in the air. Woolfolk is well behind the defense when he makes the catch, and then he waltz in. But the extra point following this touchdown was blocked by Doug Betters of Miami, and so they settled for 6. Later, in exchange of field goals, the Dolphins lead it 13-9. They are also at halftime at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati with the Seahawks in front of the Bengals there by a score of 21-10, better than 100 degrees on the field at Riverfront Stadium. Early in the game, Ken Anderson looks for tight end Rodney Holman. He makes the catch, but he's tackled by Terry Taylor and fumbles. Shelton Robinson of Seattle recovers. Last year, the Seahawks had the best giveaway takeaway margin in the league at plus 24. This play is significant because it's Kurt Warner's first carry of the year. Good for 7 yards. He missed all but one game in 1984 with a knee injury. The first score of the game, David Craig, who has thrown touchdown passes in 19 straight contests, goes to Byron Walker to put them up 7-0. Craig has thrown 3 touchdown passes in the ballgame. Ken Anderson went out with stomach cramps. Turk Schonert replaced him and hits Chris Collinsworth with this 71-yard catch and run, which led to a Jim Breach field goal to bring them a bit closer. 21-10, Seattle leads it over the Bengals at halftime in Cincinnati. The Giants haven't had back-to-back winning seasons since the Y.A. Tittle era of 1962 and 63. They lead the Eagles 14-0 at halftime at the Meadowlands. San Francisco and Minnesota coming up to halftime. The 49ers with only a 7-0 lead. Joe Montana injured a knee early in the game, replaced by Matt Cavanaugh, but then Montana subsequently returned. The Cardinals with a 7-3 lead over the Browns in Cleveland, the touchdown, a 4-yard run by Otis Anderson. Kansas City is leading New Orleans 23-3 at the Superdome in New Orleans. Coach John Malkovich wants to make sure they get in the win column right here because their next 7 games are against teams that made the playoffs in 1984. Bill Kenny starts them out quickly. Game's first possession. 50-yard catch and run to Henry Marshall, the tight end. It will set up a 31-yard throw from Kenny to Walt Arnold on the very next play, and that produces a 7-0 lead for the Chiefs. In the first half, Kenny has thrown for 2 touchdowns and better than 200 yards already for a 23-3 lead, Kansas City over the Saints. In Pittsburgh, they have reached halftime at Three Rivers Stadium, and Pittsburgh is in front of Indianapolis 24-3. Rod Dowhauer without the services of running back Curtis Dickey, who stayed back in Indianapolis with an injured knee. Here is a Frank Pollard run on a 4th and 1 to keep a drive alive for Pittsburgh, a drive which culminates in this touchdown pass from Malone to Lewis Lipps. A big first half for both Malone and Lipps, the sensational second-year wide receiver. Watch this fine catch along the sideline. Later, Lipps would make another reception in the end zone, his second touchdown catch of the day, and for Malone, 3 touchdown passes in the first half and a 24-3 lead for the Steelers over the Colts. Moving on to Atlanta. The Falcons have a 21-14 lead over the Lions. They have not yet reached halftime in that ball game. Tampa Bay is leading the Bears at Soldier Field 21-17. Steve DeBerg has 3 touchdown passes for Tampa Bay against a Bear defense that yielded only 14 scoring throws all of last season in 16 regular season games. Perhaps they miss Pro Bowl strong safety Todd Bell, who is a holdout at this point. And New England, playing at home, leads Forrest Gregg's Green Bay Packers. They're coming up to halftime. 12-6 is the score. Now, so far already in first half play on this first Sunday, Axe, we have seen Dan Marino go out and Joe Montana, although both have returned, so both Super Bowl quarterbacks have been hurt. And these injuries bring to mind the fact that the rosters are 4 short from last year, 49 down to 45.
Yeah, I think this will be a big factor as the year goes on. We'll have injury stories every week, and at some point in week 6, week 8, or whenever, some team is going to need that extra quarterback that they had to cut, or they're going to need that extra defensive back that they want to put in a nickel defense. The majority of owners voted for this. The winning owners basically voted against it, but they were overruled. But among the coaches, hardly a man is now alive who wants these rosters at 45.
Thank you, Emily Dickinson. Right now. Ahmad, during the course of your career, the roster limit has been at various numbers. How big a difference does it make?
You know, the toughest thing for a player is that on every single team in the league, the last 10 guys, there's very little difference as far as playing ability goes on the last 10 guys on the team. So it almost becomes the luck of the draw. So the guys that get cut better stay in shape because with all the injuries, they're going to be called back before the season's over.
All right, Ahmad, thanks very much. NFL 85 halftime activities will continue. We'll have a preview of the games upcoming on this doubleheader Sunday on NBC following these messages from your local station.
Tonight, Mad Max is back. In a savage world gone mad, one man stands alone. Mel Gibson is the road warrior. An NBC movie tonight.
What do you think of when I say homeowners insurance?
High premiums.
Then you should call a State Farm agent.
I should?
State Farm's built a reputation on low rates, and chances are your State Farm agent can beat the price of your current homeowner's insurance.
I'll call.
Great service, saving you money. They're both part of a State Farm agent's job.
In Lubbock, see Mike Mahoney at 34th and Slide in 5 Point Shopping Center, or Jesse Powell at 83rd and Indiana.
Weekend Sports with Greg Pear on News 11.
Continuing now at halftime, this is a doubleheader Sunday to open up the NFL season on NBC. So here's a preview of the games coming up later on. Later today on NBC, the Jets and the Raiders go at it at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The last time these two clubs met, the Jets pulled an upset in the 1982 playoffs. Earlier this week, it was thought that number 99, Mark Gastineau, would miss this game with a broken thumb. Now it's possible that he'll play a bit as part of a personal duel with the Raiders' Howie Long. Freeman McNeil gained over 1,000 yards last year despite missing 4 games for the Jets. He knows the going will be tough against the Raider defense.
I think about the hard hitting. Those guys, they really fly around, and it's just a great game. And I tell you, I'm looking forward to it. Not so much to the bruises or whatever, but just going out there and having some fun and playing against what I consider one of the best teams in football.
I would have to say that I don't think they're going to beat us throwing the ball if they beat us. I would have to say Freeman McNeil is their offense. I don't want to downplay anyone else. They have quality people, but Freeman McNeil is one heck of a running back.
When the Jets do go to the air, they'll have to contend with Long, Alzado, and the rest of their playmates. The Raiders led the AFC with 64 sacks last year. Meanwhile, down the road in Anaheim, the Rams, minus holdout Eric Dickerson, play host to John Elway and the Broncos. Elway is in his 3rd NFL campaign. Last year, he led the Broncos to the playoffs. In Dickerson's absence, Dieter Brock becomes even more important for the Rams. The 34-year-old, 11-year Canadian League veteran makes his NFL debut. The Chargers open in Buffalo. Dan Fouts won't have tight end Kellen Winslow to throw to at least until October, but he does have new arrival Trumaine Johnson from the USFL and the NFL's all-time leading pass receiver, Charlie Joyner. For Buffalo, Vince Ferragamo has replaced Joe Ferguson at quarterback. It'll help if deep threat Jerry Butler can stay healthy for the entire year. Okay, Ahmad, a good part of the country will see that Jets-Raiders game. What about the confrontations in that one?
You know, Bobby, everybody was thinking about the big showdown between Mark Gastineau and Howie Long, but it's not going to happen because Gastineau has the broken thumb and he's going to spot play today. So the big showdown in this game is going to be with Freeman McNeil and Marcus Allen. Freeman McNeil, one of the most underrated backs in football. Marcus Allen, everybody knows, the do-everything halfback. They will be going at each other.
Does Marcus Allen get the credit he deserves? Because the total yardage stats don't really reflect his greatness.
I think most teams realize that he is one of the most dangerous backs in football. He does everything. He puts the ball in the end zone, and that's the most important part. But in talking about Gastineau earlier, I talked to Bobby Reese, the Jets trainer. They've had all the pins removed from his thumb. He's worked out one day. He had a little bit of swelling. They'll make a big club for him to play with, and that club can cause some problems.
How so, Ahmad?
Well, what if his shoe comes untied? How in the heck is he going to tie him?
A point to ponder. As we move to another great thinker, Mr. Pete Axthelm, what about the Denver-Los Angeles game? Some injuries on the Denver side, especially on their defense.
Yes, opening week seems a little early for the Bataan Death March, but Denver is really banged up. Tom Jackson, Louis Wright, but somehow Joe Collier, who I consider one of the great defensive coaches in the business, I think will hold them together and stop the Rams. On the Rams side, they want to open up. John Robinson wants to throw more, throw short, throw long to Ron Brown, leave it up to Dieter Brock. But, Bob, you know, I have this built-in prejudice against quarterbacks from Canada. The only way I can see Dieter Brock beating Denver is kicking a Rouge in overtime.
And, of course, as we all know, there is no more dramatic conclusion to a season-opening game than the dreaded overtime rouge. And NFL 85 halftime activities will continue in just a minute.
To the Astrodome, Houston, Texas. Marv Albert along with Bob Greasy. Halftime, the Dolphins lead the Oilers by the score of 13-9. And Bob, checking out the quarterback statistics, Warren Moon only 4 for 6, although he has hit 3 of the last 4. Dan Marino 8 for 17 in the first half, but he's connected only 4 of his last 12 passes.
You know, Marv, I think the problem with the Oilers, first of all, their offense, I don't think either offense is looking that good, but the continuity of the Oiler offense is not there. They've run a lot of good plays, but they have 2 bad plays that have stopped them. And Marino is a little bit rusty, that it's holding back the Dolphin offense, but that could end in the third quarter. They need to get out and get some things going, all positive plays, no negative plays.
All right, the big play, which of course was positive for the Houston Oilers, was that 80-yard touchdown connection with Warren Moon hooking up with Butch Woolfolk.
Now what they did, they put both corners over here on this side, the Dolphins do, and Kozlowski, number 40, is the safety over here. They put Woolfolk, who has pretty good speed, in motion, brought him down here and made a little quick out move and then down the field. Now all the quarterback has to do is sit there and pump. As we take a look at it coming up, you'll see good protection. Now watch him pump right here. Little out move right there and then out and up. And you got a quick, good speed wide receiver, running back who could play wide receiver on Kozlowski, and there was no match, and that's how they got their touchdown. That is something that you see in the film during the week and you set up and you plan for. A lot of times you get those things and they never work. Now here's the Dolphins. What they need to do is get the ball deep to their wide receivers. Both Clayton and Duper are getting a lot of man-to-man coverage, bump and run. The other thing they can do is put Nat Moore, 89, in the backfield and give him an option to go either way as he comes out. Some of the things we might be seeing in the second half.
Crowd of better than 50,000 here at the Astrodome as we await the start of play in the second half. Look at the first half statistics. And the Oilers, led by Woolfolk, have the advantage in rushing yardage.
You know, what you're seeing there is not a typical Dan Marino type of day. Of course, Strock was in there and completed all 3 of his passes, but obvious that Marino's a little bit rusty, and as we said at the top of the broadcast, he expected some of that, and it may take him a little while to get that. I'm sure he was a little nervous too, but get back into the groove.
The 2 Houston turnovers. The fumble by Butch Woolfolk and the intercepted pass that deflected off Woolfolk and was picked off by the cornerback, William Judson. Dan Marino, man who has shattered the record books the past 2 years. Last year throwing for 5,084 yards, the first NFL quarterback to throw for 5,000 yards, plus a host of records, 48 touchdown passes, 4 400-yard games, 362 completions, and on and on. And we've received word that Bill Barnett, the Dolphin nose tackle, bruised a knuckle on his hand in the first quarter, was x-rayed, and he is okay, and we'll see action. Tony Zendejas with the kickoff, and we're underway in the second half. Lorenzo Hampton out to the 20. With the first across the 35-yard line. 31-yard return by Hampton. Rod Cush on the stop. And Miami first down at the 37.
The Houston Oilers at this point, Marv, have to be feeling pretty good. They're in the ball game. They're a very young team. They lost their first 10 ball games last year. They only won 1 in the preseason. They've got to feel pretty good about staying with the Dolphins.
Duper left, Clayton right, Bennett and Davenport the running backs. This is Davenport. Short pickup for the rookie from Louisville, Ron Davenport. Checking the Oilers defensively. Childress, Stensrud, Baker up front. The linebackers, Lyles, Riley, Abraham, and Meads. And in the secondary, Brown and Allen at the corners. Bostic and Eason are the deep men. 2-yard pickup for Davenport. 2nd down and 8 at the 40. And Marino goes sideline. And he completes to Clayton, covered by Patrick Allen. And a first down for Miami.
Those types of passes, Marv, down and out to the outside receiver, are usually the first ones that a quarterback can pick up a timeout when he comes back off of a 37-day layout, as Dan Marino had. The ones that are tougher are the ones over the middle. You have to read more. You have to make sure there aren't linebackers in the way, because a lot of times you can't see where you're throwing the football. Too many defensive linemen.
4th catch for Mark Clayton. First out at midfield. Play action. And Marino going deep for Clayton. Oh, what a catch. Mark Clayton sets up the first and goal. In a race with the corner, Steve Brown.
How many times have you seen Marino and Clayton hook up on this? A little play action pass. Brown looking into the backfield allows Clayton to get a step on him, and then just over the top. Brown doesn't see the ball. Clayton sees it. Just a good play, good execution as we take a look at Marino. He's back in it. All right.
And he picks up 45 yards on the play. It is a 1st and goal at the 6. Timeout has been called. So 2 minutes gone by, 3rd quarter, and Miami will talk it over.
Crow Wing, Minnesota, and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Crow Wing means northern pipe, big and mean, and Old Milwaukee means a great beer, cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer, and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light. It's a beauty.
And Old Milwaukee.
And Old Milwaukee Light.
Taste as great as their name.
You know, doesn't get any better than this.
And that's the way you
Was your child in the play?
She was the avocado.
Oh, the avocado was very good.
I can't wait till these pictures come back. When my husband sees the avocado dancing with that banana.
That banana was my son.
Oh, Polaroid pictures.
With the Polaroid instant camera, you know you've got the shots because you see them right away.
Oh.
Polaroid instant cameras do what no other kind of camera can do.
Would you come on, take a ride, yeah? On your way, driving with some pride, yeah?
Buick Century. It's one of the rewards you get for playing the game and winning.
Just some style coming down the road, yeah. Putting you feeling so at home, yeah.
Buick Century. Rewarding to drive. Now available with 7.7% financing.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
Today's game is brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light, the circle of sports beer. By the Polaroid Corporation, innovation in photographic and video products. And by the U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start.
Marv Albert, Bob Greasy from the Astrodome in Houston. And Miami with a first and goal from the 6. They lead the Oilers 13-9. Out of the eye, and this is Hampton. Gets inside the 5. It'll be a second and goal from the 4-yard line. Johnny Meads, the outside linebacker, putting the shoulder in on number 27, Lorenzo Hampton.
This is where the yardage gets tough down here, whether you run or pass. If you're going to throw the football, this is the down to throw it on. 2nd and 4, because it's still run or pass. If you get 3rd and 4, it's obviously a passing situation.
And now it's Hampton and Davenport in the backfield. And Hampton smothered. Childress scissor move on Hampton. Third down play, and they spot it back at the 5 as you look at the Oilers defensively, and Childress, Stensrud, and Baker up front. They've gone most of the way. Third and goal at the 5. And Marino's pass is deflected. A big play appeared to be the rookie, Ray Childress.
Mike Stensrud, if you watch it right here, you can see the ball, Stensrud in his hand right here. Gets his big paw up there, and that is just as good as your best defensive back. The best coverage is those big hands up in front of the quarterback.
And it's a 22-yard attempt. So Fuad Reveiz has kicked his third field goal of the day. And the Dolphins now lead the Oilers by the score of 16-9.
We're not a company, but outstanding people come to us every day. People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts. People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual. People who become your friends for life. People just like you. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Army. We're the armed forces. It's a great place to start.
Last year, history's biggest run took place. The 5-mile Stroh's Run for Liberty. This year's run will be even bigger. It's in 127 cities, and it's sponsored by Stroh's, with support from the Plymouth Division of Chrysler. Your entry fee will help restore the statue. And even if you walk, you'll get a medal cast from materials used to build her a century ago. Enter at participating Chrysler Plymouth dealers or wherever you buy Stroh's. Then join us. For her sake.
We're all born with the capacity to give, to share. But as we grow, we get busy. We forget. To help revive those childlike qualities, American Express is launching Project Hometown America. Each time you use the American Express card, you'll help your community unite to solve its problems. For the sake of your hometown and the child within us all. Don't leave home without it.
Tonight on Ocean Quest, Sean Weatherly goes after the humpback whale. She'll risk everything to make contact with this legendary creature. Tonight.
Rookie from Tennessee, Fuad Reveiz, who just hit from 22 yards, his third field goal of the day, getting set to kick off to Houston. So he's hit from 22, 36, and 33. And Miami now in front by the score of 16-9. Tasker and Drury awaiting the kick from Reveiz. Tasker's had a good day returning kicks. And this is Drury. So they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Willie Drury, little rookie, 5'7", 158 pounds, out of West Virginia, an 11th round draft pick. Decided wisely to stay right there. So 1st and 10 from the 20 for Warren Moon and the Houston Oilers.
Oilers are on the move. Last two possessions, touchdown and field goal. Got the momentum going. You got to keep it with you. You got to have it. You got to take advantage of it when you've got it.
Drew Hill out to the left, and now Tim Smith in the slot. Smith's been quiet to this point. Larry Moriarty on the carry, and a penalty flag is down. It looks to be a hold. And Pat Haggerty with the indication against the Oilers. 88, Chris Gressel.
See Oliver Luck in the headset in the white shirt giving the signals.
That created a furor of sorts here in the Houston area. Brian Ransom, who was the Houston backup quarterback, complained that The coaching staff gives him no responsibility. He says he is insulted that the injured backup quarterback Oliver Luck is giving the hand signals during practice. So Ransom said, "They treat me like a dummy."
Well, he gives the hand signals too out there.
They're not watching him. First and 20. Nice catch by the tight end, Jamie Williams. Tackled by Charles Bowser.
Good move by Moon. Play action to try to hold the linebackers. You see 50. Shipp trying to run out of there, and right where he ran out of is where the tight end makes the catch. The fight in the trenches. Matthews, 74 in blue, the #1 draft choice, blocking on Betters 2 years ago, the defensive player of the NFL.
15-yard advance, 2nd and 5 at the 25. Rozier in motion. And Moriarty on the carry. Kozlowski, the strong safety, up to make the stop. Seattle now leading Cincinnati 21-17. In the third, San Francisco clinging to that 7-0 lead over Minnesota. Atlanta by 7 over Detroit. Tampa Bay opening up again, lead the Bears 28-17. Here in Houston, the Dolphins leading the Oilers 16-9. 5 minutes in, third quarter. Third down and 4. Penalty marker down. Moon able to get it away. And a diving grab made by Rozier for the first down, but there is a flag on the field. That was a dangerous pass thrown by Moon.
Illegal procedure on the Oilers, and the reason for that was Lyle Blackwood was up from his safety position threatening a blitz. Everybody saw it before the snap, and when you do that, some of those offensive guys starts tucking a little bit, start moving to get over there and make the block. Here we'll take a look at the outside. Williams, 87 going out, 33 is Rozier. Coming back to the inside, I'm not so sure that he wasn't throwing that ball to Williams. It looked to me like he was throwing the ball to Williams. Of course, we'll never get Warren to tell us who he was throwing it to.
However, that play is erased. It is a third down and 9 back at the 21. And Moon out of the pocket and able to scramble for some additional yardage. Dolphins thought they had him a couple of times. Looks to be short of the first down. It's a 9-yard pickup, and Warren Moon is hearing it from this crowd.
It'll be close. I think he may have gotten it.
Yes, they have spotted it as a first down.
What's going on here is there's good coverage downfield, and Moon gets up inside, and all the defensive backs and linebackers are running out covering people. There's nobody to cover Warren Moon, and when he takes off running, they have to read it and react up.
So first out of the 30, 8.5 remaining, third quarter. Dolphins lead 16-9. Moriarty unable to get going to this point. Mike Charles and Charles Bowser on the stop.
Moriarty's another player that just came in last week, has had about 5 or 6 practices, and you just can't miss the entire training camp and expect to come in and play. Hasn't carried the ball a lot. He's been doing a lot of blocking. He's good at picking up blitzing linebackers.
One thing about Moriarty, the Houston coaching staff feels he always stays in shape. He is a bodybuilding enthusiast. In fact, while in high school, finished third in the Mr. Teenage California competition. Bob, you were a contestant of that, I'm told, several times.
I just missed.
Stopped by Mark Brown. All right, there is the backup quarterback, Brian Ranson, who was recently brought back to the club as Oliver Luck got her. Now, he's giving signals, but...
which one is live and which one's a dummy?
Whoa. A direct hit on Brian Ranson.
Oliver Luck Buck is out with a slightly fractured ankle.
And he'll be out about 4 weeks. Moriarty stopped behind the line, but looks to be a procedure penalty against Houston.
What we're seeing here, Marv, is it's getting a little bit ragged. A lot of penalties, movement on some of the players. Pat Haggerty's mic is out as we look at Chuck Studley in the orange shirt. But it's getting a little ragged. A lot of these players haven't played in a complete ball game, an entire game. It's been preseason. They play a half, maybe 3 quarters, but now it's full go, and they're in there the whole way. Studley, the former defensive coordinator and head coach, I guess, for a while of the Oilers.
Was interim head coach here in Houston the final 10 games 2 years back. 3rd down and 6 from the 34. Now Boone got the protection. Butch Woolfolk. One out by William Judson, so Butch Woolfolk making his presence felt here in the 3rd quarter, the first time that he's touched the ball in the second half. A 37-yard pass play.
Man-to-man coverage. Mike Kozlowski, number 40, will be covering Woolfolk out of the backfield. They come from the right to the left side, but he made a move to the right and then went back outside. Kozlowski thought he was going across field, and Woolfolk can really pick him up and put him down when he gets out in the open field.
And it's a first down at the 29. 3rd reception by Woolfolk for 120 yards in all. Rozier is stopped. Mike Rozier opening with a burst in the 2nd quarter, not able to get off thus far here in the 3rd. The outside linebacker, Robin Sentline, on the tackle.
Sentline has really come on and done a good job for the Dolphins, Marv. They got him in a trade for the rights to Anthony Carter with a 2nd-round draft choice, and Sentline coming to the Dolphins. They needed some help because of the holdout of Bob Brzezinski, and he's played very well.
2nd and 11, so Rozier lost the yard. Judson, intended for Hill. Drew Hill, the intended receiver right here. We'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Back at the Astrodome in Houston, Marv Albert along with Bob Greasy, 5:52 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the Dolphins lead the Oilers 16-9. 3 field goals by the rookie Juan Revez. And the big play for Houston, the 80-yard touchdown to Butch Woolfolk.
Here they come.
And Edwards finding the hole. Picking up 20 yards on the play. Bowser brought him down. And a very good-looking drive here by Houston.
You got to give a lot of credit to Warren Moon. The guard will pull and cross-block on 40 Kozlowski. A little inside trap, but to give the credit to Moon for allowing the Dolphins to get up in that safety blitz, and as soon as the ball snapped, they all come straight across, and a trapping guard who comes from behind the line of scrimmage knocks him out, and there's a crease in there. No linebackers to make the tackle. Good play.
The guys from Michigan have been doing it, both Edwards and Woolfolk, hurting the Dolphins. And here's Rozier inside the 10. Mark Brown, the right inside linebacker, on the tackle. 2nd and 8 upcoming from the 9. Mike Rozier, the USFL 2nd leading rusher this past season at Jacksonville. He's carried 7 times, 24 yards.
Moon really hasn't thrown a lot of passes. Had a good rushing game to go with those 164 yards of passing.
11th play of the drive. Moon with time, saw the opening. And it's closed at the 6. Brown on a stop. Third down play coming up.
There's the play being sent in this time. Hugh Campbell saying, hurry up, hurry up. You've got to get the play in, get your formation up there. Dolphins sending in their nickel defense. Wholesale changes. It looks like a fire drill.
And now Mike Holston is to the right side. Coach Woolfolk is back. 3rd and 5 from the 6. Could not elude Charles Bowser. Mac Moore and Charles Bowser all over Warren Moon.
Moon has made some good plays. We talked about the one little checkoff a little earlier. This is a very poor play. Everybody is covered. Now the last thing you want to do is take a sack and get yourself out of field goal range. Just get rid of the football. It's something that's tough to do. He's a competitor. A lot of quarterbacks can't release the football. They want to complete it or take a sack. You've got to avoid taking that big sack.
He lost 23. It is a 46-yard field goal attempt coming up now for Zendejas. He line drives it, and it's good. So Zendejas, who hit from 35 earlier, connects from 46, and the Miami lead is cut to 4.
Engines are fired up, ready to soar into a new season.
The NFL plays here, Los Angeles.
Al Davis says, just win, baby, and the Raiders get results. Football's winning his team.
The Jets battle the Raiders. The action starts with NFL 85.
And some good ones just ahead here on NBC. The Jets playing the Raiders in Los Angeles. Denver at the LA Rams. San Diego playing Buffalo. Second part of our doubleheader. Dolphins now lead at 16-12, and here is Hampton. Hampton on the return across the 20-yard line. The rookie Lorenzo Hampton has had a good day returning kicks.
There's a defensive, that's the coaches for the Houston Oilers on the far right. There's Joe Ferragalli. He is the offensive coordinator. They also have their defensive coordinator, Jerry Glanville, in the press box. And more, that's a little bit different than a lot of teams will do it. A lot of them will have their offensive coordinator up there, but not both. The Dolphins, Chuck Studley, the defensive coordinator, is on the sideline where he can get emotional and get fired up with those defensive guys.
But offense, obviously better off up
a little bit
up top.
Yeah.
Crowd looking to get behind the Houston defense as Ron Davenport was stopped by Robert Abraham as we scan the scoreboard.
There. Cincinnati moved ahead.
And now St. Louis leading Cleveland 10-3 in the third. Pittsburgh walloping Indianapolis. Detroit and Atlanta tied again, now 21. Tampa Bay in a battle with Chicago. Second down and 7. Miami at its 27. Bennett trying to pull away and nowhere to go. Johnny Leeds and Ray Childress combining. We're set for another update. Let's go to Bob Costas in NFL 85.
All right, Marv, after trailing at one point 21-7, the Bengals have rallied against the Seahawks. Here's the big fullback, Larry Kinnebrew, with a 9-yard scoring run. They have overtaken Seattle and lead 24-21. They're now early in the fourth.
All right, Bob, this Houston defense fired up. The crowd behind them. Minute and a half left, third quarter.
The younger you are, the more fired up you're going to become if you're being successful.
It is a third down and 10. Marino from the shotgun. Fumbles. Feel they have it, and they do. The Houston Oilers will take over on on the fumble recovery.
We'll take a look at the play again. You'll see the defense of the Oilers all up there. 56 is coming, blitzing. The safeties were up there. Marino was worried about it, and Stevenson, the center, was worried about it. The bad handling of the football causes the turnover for the Oilers.
And it appears to be Jeff Donaldson who recovered the ball, and Houston taking over down at the 16-yard line. And it was indeed the second-year man from Colorado, Jeff Donaldson, with a big play. Goal off the play action. Gets the block. And it's caught by the tight end, Jamie Williams. First and goal. Inside the 5. A 12-yard pass play.
We said early on how young a team Houston is as the left guard, Munchak, 63, will pull the block for. But if you execute plays like this, these young guys will really become excited. Great catch, feet down. Offense is setting up the defense, and the defense is working with the offense. The Oilers are on a roll.
And what a job by Williams to remain in bounds. First and goal at the 4. Moriarty and Rozier are the setbacks. Here's Rozier. Mark Brown on the stop down at the 3. Seconds left, third quarter. Houston right back in it, trailing only 16-12 off that 46-yard field goal by Zendejas. It is a second and goal from the 3. Again, Rozier. Check that Moriarty. And he was met by Brown. What a shot.
See the charge of the offensive line, that huge line, but number 51, Mark Brown, is keying Moriarty, and right there sticks him for no gain. Good play by the Dolphin defense. The defensive line wants to go in low, and the linebackers come over the top to make the play.
And this third quarter has come to a close. Miami leading by 4. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
I'm Father Hardstep with a little fatherly advice. Wednesday night, Helltown is the place to be. Just look.
It's the place where anything can happen.
The joint's going crazy.
But Robert Blake's got a grip on it all.
God ain't your problem. I am.
He'll go up against anyone to protect his people.
Please, God, take care of him.
In the series premiere of Helltown, Wednesday.
West Texas covers more square miles than some states. Sometimes meeting the financial needs of our customers requires us to cover many miles in a hurry. We understand how unique this area is because most of us at Texas Bank and Trust Company grew up right here in West Texas. We know you need a bank big enough to handle your needs, whether it's starting a new business, expanding your present one, or just getting some financial advice on some new ideas. I'm Royce Lewis, president of Texas Bank and Trust Company. You'll find our way of banking will suit you to a T.
You're the winner in the savings game with GMAC 7.7 and Scoggin Dickey's closeout prices. The Safari van brings the price of a conversion within the budget of any car buyer. It's even more affordable with 7.7%, and you get the same low interest on Scoggin Dickey's half-ton, three-quarter-ton, and one-ton pickups. Closeout prices start at $70.95 on S15 pickups with 4-speed air and much more. You'll find comparable closeout savings on Suburbans and K Jimmys with over 100 units in stock at Scoggin Dickey GMC Trucks 19th and H.
Truckload savings on everything that moves at Hollins. Occasional tables with tops that swivel. A waterbed that looks like a conventional bed. Sofa sleepers in twin, full, or queen sizes. And adjustable position bedding. Country-style dining with wood or laminated tops. And your choice of 6 chair styles. Where else but Hollins can you buy any piece of furniture at our regular price and get your next piece or pieces of equal value for half price? So hurry to Loop 289 in the Brownfield Highway, and we're open till 9 each night just for you.
KCBD in Petersburg, the South Plains source for news.
1 point in the second quarter. Miami was in front by the score of 13-0, but it's been a very rusty day for Dan Marino. A fired-up Houston defense has got the Oilers back in it. Right now, they have a chance to take the lead. It's a third down, third goal for the 3. Rozier going wide.
his 4th offensive system in a period of 3 years. He was at Nebraska, then he was at Pittsburgh, went to Jacksonville, and now with the Oilers, done a great job running the football.
And here is Zendejas, who had one blocked earlier. Tasker putting it down. And it's right through there. Seconds into the 4th quarter, and Houston surprising Miami, leading by 3.
This fall, millions of people will change their antifreeze, but not their radiator hoses. It's an easy mistake to make, because hoses can look good outside even when they're wearing out inside. So put in quality gauge hoses the next time you change antifreeze. Because if your hoses go, your car won't.
East Point, Maine and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. East Point means a New England clam bake, summer fun and food at its best. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth golden Old Milwaukee Light.
Old Milwaukee.
And Old Milwaukee Light.
Taste as great as their name.
No, guys, it doesn't get any better than this.
The world is divided in half. Some can go to the net, some can't. There are good backhands and bad ones. And most important to Bic, some guys have normal skin while others have more sensitive skin. So Bic made the new Bic Orange. It shaves sensitive skin gently and closely. So for normal skin like mine, the original Bic White Shaver. And for sensitive skin, the new Bic Orange. Oh, by the way, some people love John McEnroe, and some people,
Let's take a look at the block that Moriarty puts right here to spring Rozier into the end zone. Motion away from the play. Moriarty, great block. And Rozier outruns Jay Brophy into the end zone to put the Oilers ahead.
And Marino and his Dolphins once led by the score of 13-0. So the Oilers have come from way back, and now with a 19-16 lead in the opening minute of this 4th quarter. Lorenzo Hampton from his goal line to the 10. And tripped up across the 15. Excellent coverage by the Oilers, led by Audrey McMillan, a recent addition to the squad. First down from the 16. The Dolphins have won their last 4 season openers. Houston has lost its last 3. And then some. Remember, they opened up last year at 0-10 and then split their final 6 games to finish at 3-13. We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the Steelers and the Colts. Marv Albert, Bob Greasy from Houston. The Oilers, in a come-from-behind effort, now lead the Miami Dolphins by the score of 19-16 off that completion to Bruce Hardy. It'll be a 2nd and 1 at the 25-yard line. 14 minutes left in this 4th quarter. It's been a rough day to this point for Dan Marino. Lorenzo Hampton off the right side. And he has picked up the first down. A couple of big plays, a 61-yard interception and return for the touchdown by cornerback William Judson of Miami. An 80-yard pass play with Moon and Woolfolk hooking up. A 46-yard field goal by Zendejas looming very large. That taking place in the 3rd quarter. And then the Houston drive capped off by the touchdown run by Rozier from close in. And Tony Nathan bottled up. Short pickup.
Marv, what a great job these young defenders for the Oilers have been doing. We talked about it at the top of the of the broadcast how the Dolphins might be licking their chops to come back and get at these young defensive players, average age 25 years of age in the secondary. Young people. Childress, a defensive end, is starting his first ball game, has only been in camp for 2 weeks, so they've done a remarkable job thus far.
Miami from its 29. Marino able to complete to Nathan, but short of the first down. The right corner, Patrick Allen, was there. Allen settling down. They were going his way in the first half, but he's done a good job. As we check the scoreboard, you saw the Giants leading the Eagles. Kansas City winning big over New Orleans. Pittsburgh over Indianapolis, 31-3. Detroit and Atlanta hooked up in a duel throughout the day. Detroit on top at this point, and New England leading Green Bay 19-6 in the fourth quarter. Again, the crowd urging the Oiler defense on. Third down and 2 for Miami. Good protection and a first down picked up. Nice hook up with Tony Nathan. Avon Riley, the inside linebacker on the left, making the stop on Nathan.
Here's Nathan right here. He's going to come out of the backfield and run an option. He can go out or back to the inside. This time he comes back to the inside, but if you'll watch him, he kind of stumbles. Marino has to reload to get him the football. Starts out, whoa, wait a minute, I'm coming back in. Wide open, first down.
And a first down at the 42.
Marino probably said, hey, don't do that to me. I'm just getting going here.
Saw it kicked by Patrick Allen. One of the new rules this season in the NFL, the defensive back does have as much right to the football in the air as the receiver. As we watch the jostling down the sideline.
And I think that's a good addition to the rule, but I think in this case, downfield, the second flag where he threw his hat was, as we look at Hugh Campbell, he's trying to get his 2 cents in there. I think it was interference on the defense later on. I don't know what the first flag was thrown for. He didn't have 2 flags. He threw his flag early, and then all he had left was his hat.
Always carry a handkerchief.
John Sandusky, the man in the headphones there in the blue shirt, the offensive line coach, done such a great job. Don Shula wants to get his 2 cents in, so we'll take it further downfield where the interference happened.
Defensive holding. Defense. First down, 5-yard penalty.
And look at Hugh Campbell.
Hold it, he says. Hold it. I don't understand if it was defensive holding early in the play, and then later on in the play, it looked, if anything, it was interference, but maybe Hugh thinks it was on the offense.
Shula looking for an interference. He wanted it spotted way downfield, but it is a 5-yard penalty.
Now, if the ball is tipped or deflected, once it is thrown, there is no interference. All bets are off.
So this is called a defensive holding.
This is defensive holding, which happened earlier in the play. Now, that's what Hugh Campbell was complaining about, the ball being tipped.
All right, first down. At the 46-yard line. Lorenzo Hampton is stopped. Johnny Meads and the strong safety, Keith Bostic, with the reps on Hampton.
You could tell from that play right there how fired up this young team is. Meads and Lyles, both second-year players, draft choices. Bostic, 25. There you'll see now, Meads, number 91, will come up and get a first shot, and Bostic, former second-round draft choice, will come in and finish him off. I'll tell you, Marv, the more these young players are in this ballgame, the more fired up they're going to be, and the tougher they're going to be to move the ball on.
Loss of 6. Second down, 16, back at the 40.
You see Rod Cush and Donaldson up, faking blitz.
Marino Clayton with time. And overthrow. It is picked up again by Steve Brown. The pass intended for Mark Clayton, but was off the mark. And tempers flare.
Clayton says, I'm not used to this. I'm used to catching these passes. 2 interceptions, but I'll tell you, Marv, Houston has done a great job of getting up there, faking blitz, not faking blitz. Marino, you'll see them backing out right there. Now he was concerned about the blitz. Now he's feeling, I got a little pressure on me. There was a little bumping going on over there. He thought Clayton was going to go further downfield. Clayton made the stop, and the problem is Dan hasn't been in camp long enough to work these things out.
Well, they finally broke it up. A timeout called. We'll be right back.
It's summertime saving time, summertime saving time.
It's summertime saving time at your Mazda dealers, and we're dealing on everything. On the economical GLC hatchback, on 626, a classic family car, RX-7, the enthusiast's dream. And during our factory-supported truck clearance sale, you can save hundreds on an 86 Mazda B2000. See your Mazda dealer during summertime saving time.
Mazda summertime saving time.
There's never been a better time to save.
The AT&T personal computer has all the speed, graphics, and power your business needs today. As those needs change, your AT&T PC will keep up with new features, enhancements, getting better all the time. The right choice today, tomorrow, and as time goes by. The AT&T PCs, the computers with the future built in. From AT&T, the right choice.
Coors showed me how they do things different, all the way down the line. And heat like this, that's important. Why? Well, heat headies up the taste of beer. Any beer. But if you went down to any Coors warehouse, this is what you'd see. Coors, stored cold. Now, Coors is the only one that can say that. It's expensive, kind of a hassle. But Coors distributors think it makes a difference. Right here, a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By Coors, the beer with a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one. And by Alcoa, Aluminum Company of America, world leader in aluminum technology.
Off the interception by Steve Brown is second of the day. Houston takes over first down at the 48. Butch Woolfolk. The left side, stopped by Mark Brown. So Dan Marino, who was just picked off, now to his left has Don Strock warming up.
And this has got to be a tough situation for Don Shula. You're pulling the guy that threw for 5,000 yards, broke all the records last year. He's only been in camp a week, though. I think he's doing the right thing, taking him out, putting Strock in. Strock's been there. See what he can do.
2nd and 5 from the 47. Warren Moon unleashing. Intended for Drew Hill in a race with Paul Langford.
Just overthrew it. He knows he had him open. If he just put a little more air under it, as we see the Oilers, the last 4 possessions, the first half, nothing. They've been moving the ball the entire game, just made some mistakes. Now they've eliminated those mistakes, put some points on the board.
Down and 5. Warren Moon is 7 for 11. 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Has not had to throw the ball that frequently because the Oilers have shown a running attack. That's Woolfolk peeling off. Moon has a first down with Tim Smith. So Tim Smith, who has had 2 sensational seasons, 83 catches 2 years ago, 69 last year, with his first reception today.
Good read, good throw. That's where you use that strong arm when there are linebackers and defensive backs around and you need to get the ball there quickly. Give it to him quickly. If you got a longer pass, lay it up a little bit, give the receiver a chance to run under it.
And it's a first down at the 35. Rozier and Edwards now out of the eye. Count by Moon, and here's Rozier with a stutter step.
Ball's loose.
He fumbled it, and Miami has is recovered. Mike Rozier coughing it up. The free safety, Bud Brown, on the recovery.
Just a straight handoff. He drops the ball before he was even hit. I don't know what he was doing, whether he was shifting it or what, but the Dolphins have the ball. We'll be right back after this.
We're not a company, but no company has more pride in what they do, or more pride in how well they do it. We offer you a meaningful and fulfilling future, one that goes far beyond the ordinary, one that brings with it the respect and admiration of Americans everywhere. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, the Navy. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Hey, Pete, going to town with us? Go on ahead. Thought you had a little trouble. We can take care of it.
A day off is something real special, but so's a good neighbor.
Going into town with us, Pete?
Push. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Push.
Head for Bush Beer. Head for the mountains.
At $63.95, you could like the all-new 1986 Mazda B2000 SE5 for its price alone. Or for its radial, spoker wheels, 40 stripes and mirrors, step bumper, and double wall bed, all standard. And of course, there's the $63.95 price, plus the surprisingly roomy, quiet interior with a 5-speed. And that $63.95 price means you can now experience a sporty truck, priced close to Toyota's and Nissan's base trucks. Mazda SE5.
An American tradition continues. They were baseball's most exciting and colorful team. Known as the Gas House Gang, the Cardinals of St. Louis played their own brand of baseball and won. Now a new generation of Cardinals are racing towards the pennant as they meet the Cubs, or the Mets face the Expos. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting.
Don Strock has come on, replacing Marino. Struck 3 for 3 in the first quarter when he came on for Marino and is able to connect with Duper. Mark Duper down to the 20. Touchdown. How's that for coming off the bench? A 67-yard pass play to put the Dolphins back on top.
That's experience. That's what that is for you, Marv. Strong coming in, calling one of his favorite plays. They were in a 2-deep zone. He sent one of the wide receivers right down the middle of the field and the other one on a square end underneath him. He throws the ball over the linebackers. You'll see the other one clearing out. The other receiver comes out the left side of it and right down the football field.
And the Dolphins lead 22-19. Here is Fuad Reves looking for the extra point, and he has it. Third catch for Duper, 82 yards in all. Don Strock out of the bullpen to lead the Dolphins in front.
I never got used to the idea of being a hero. Been no stars on a potato farm. I lived a simple life here, a really good life.
There's still a place where people don't forget where they came from. A place where beer is beer, and the brand is Miller.
Miller's made the American way.
Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
Observe the perfect crime. Costly energy escaping on all sides. What's this? Pink Owens Conning insulation. Yes, it's saving money in the attic, saving money in the walls, in the crawl space and basement. The perfect crime. Solved by myself. And pink fiberglass insulation.
Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
It's summertime saving time, summertime saving time.
It's summertime saving time at your Mazda dealers, and we're dealing on everything. On the economical GLC hatchback. On 626, a classic family car. RX-7, the enthusiast's dream. And during our factory-supported truck clearance sale, you can save hundreds on an 86 Mazda B2000. See your Mazda dealer during summertime saving time.
Mazda summertime saving time.
There's never been a better time to save.
The world's athletes have gathered in Rome to challenge, to strive, to conquer. The world's athletes have gathered in Rome for the IAAF Grand Prix Championships. If it's special, it's on NBC Sports.
Bob, you have been through this situation in your career where you have been pulled out during the course of a game. What goes through your mind?
Well, you're mad, first of all. You're mad because you didn't do well. You're mad because you let the team down, and you're frustrated. But you understand. Marino understands the situation. They are good friends. He realizes how well Don Strock can play. I'll tell you, it's a tough decision for Don Shula to even make, but you got to give credit to Strock. Sitting on the bench waiting his turn.
This time a short kick. This is Tasker. Out across the 25-yard line. The rookie Steve Tasker on the return with 8.5 remaining. In this fourth quarter, the Dolphins now leading at 23-19. Check of the scoreboard. Seattle in front of Cincinnati having a rough day, though. San Francisco and Minnesota now tied in the third. And Pittsburgh over Indianapolis 45-3. Detroit leads Atlanta 28-24 in the fourth quarter. New England over Green Bay 19-6 in the fourth. And Chicago now has taken the lead. They've come from behind. They lead Tampa Bay 31-28. That is Steve Tasker, who just returned the kick, shaken up on the play. Tasker, the rookie out of Northwestern, a 9th-round draft pick, combination rugby and football player at Northwestern. In fact, he was the Big Ten's most valuable player in rugby.
They drafted Tasker and Drury both in the late rounds. Tasker in the 9th and Drury in the 11th, hoping that one of them would stick as a return man. They played so well that both are on the roster and both are pretty good wide receivers.
A reminder, coming up following the Dolphins and the Oilers, it'll be the LA Raiders going up against the New York Jets from the Coliseum in Los Angeles, or Denver and the LA Rams, or San Diego and Buffalo. Second part of the doubleheader here on NBC. All right, let's see if Warren Moon can get the Oilers back in it. They trail by 4. And here's Rozier out to the 30-yard line. The inside linebacker, Jackie Shipp, combining with Mark Brown to make the stop. And the 49ers now leading the Vikings 14-7 in the fourth quarter.
Marv, what the Oilers need to do now is they've got plenty of time, over 8 minutes. Just do the things that have been working for them. Call those good running plays. Don't make any big mistakes.
Second down and 7. And Moon going the middle has the first down. Completes to Tim Smith, his second catch of the day. Jackie Shipp on the stop.
You look at 56 Bowser on the right of your screen, dropping back in a zone. He's not covering him by himself. He has Shipp 50 helping him out. There's he hooks up in between the two linebackers, and the strong arm gets the ball there very quickly.
Setting that Houston offensive line, Moran and Matthews at the tackles, Munchak and Schumacher at the guards, and Romano the center. Steinkühler bothered by a knee injury, sitting it out. So Schumacher has gone the distance at right guard. First down at the 43. Woolfolk in motion. Moon looked that way. Couldn't find it. And has to run it out. Chased by Bowser.
They went back to that same formation that gets both wide receivers on the same side and motion of their halfback, trying to work something on Mike Kozlowski. Good coverage in the secondary by the Dolphins. Forced Warren Moon to run.
Of 7. Second and 17 back at the 36. 7 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. At one point, Miami with a 13-0 lead. Houston coming from behind to take the lead, and now the Dolphins off the touchdown bomb to Mark Duper from Don Strock, who relieved Dan Marino. Move back in front. They lead at 23-19. Third sack of the day for Miami. Let's see what they'll rule here as Smith coughed it up. Do they call it complete? If so, it is a fumble, and Miami recovers. And that's the call. Bud Brown again on the recovery.
Bud Brown getting his first start in the National Football League, a late-round draft choice last year of the Dolphins, subbing for Lyle Blackwood, making a big play. Good throw by Moon, good protection right here. Now let's see where he loses it. Comes out before he hits the ground, good play. Who was that? Judson, 49, that pulled the ball out. A lot of teams now, Marv, are going to the defensive backs, actually working on drills where they strip the receiver of, in fact, we saw the Houston Oilers working on that very drill before game time.
And Judson did the stripping, so Miami takes over at the Houston 42, just under 7 left in this fourth quarter. Here's Hampton, trying to get outside, but tripped up. Nice job by the linebacker, John Grimsley. There's Grimsley in his second year out of Kentucky. A loss on the play. They set it back to a 2nd and 11. Don Strock taking over for Dan Marino. Marino 13 for 24, 159 yards, and intercepted twice. Marino, who went through that 37-day holdout. Don Shula told us before the game that he'd go with him today in the starting role despite missing much of training camp. And then he hurt his arm banging it on a helmet and was forced to the sideline. Here's Strock again going deep. What a battle. Let's see. It is broken up by Patrick Allen. Intended for Mark Duper.
Good play by Patrick Allen on Duper, but Marv getting back to Strock and how he came in and relieved it, and so quick. One play, he'd probably been sitting on the sideline, seeing the defenses and knowing, boy, if I got in there, this was the play I'd run. It was probably telling that play to Marino on the sideline, maybe even suggesting the play to Shula. They have a lot of things on their mind. They try to get to it. As soon as he got in there, he went to that play, and it was a big play down the head in the ball game.
Clayton is top of your screen to the right, Duper left. It's Tony Nathan bringing inside the 40. And Rod Cush on the stop, so we'll see the first punt of the second half as Reggie Roby checks in. In fact, only his second punt of the day. Had a 48-yard punt earlier.
These two linebackers jumping around here. The problems, the offensive line not getting their blocking square. Tries to get a little trap up the middle. Good defense by the Oilers.
And Roby is back at his 45, coming off a tremendous preseason, and sends a high pop fly back to the end zone. So they'll bring it out. Reggie Roby, an all-pro, last year had the best net average in the NFL and averaged better than 47 yards during preseason.
You know, Marv, it seems like there are really an influx of a lot of new young kickers coming into the National Football League. Strong leg. We have one here in Johnson. They call him Thunderfoot. Zendejas is here. All around the league, you're seeing these punters that can kick the ball above stadium level for distance, hang time, and I think that is one of the areas that has really improved in the last few years is the kicking game and the kickers of these teams in the NFL.
In Roby's case, supposedly at age 6, he was punting the ball 25 yards, but he says at that time hang time was a problem. First down for Houston from the 20. Miami leads at 23-19. 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Moon with time. And he connects it through Hill. The free safety, but Brown on the stop. A 48-yard pass play. Moon and Hill.
You're going to see Drew Hill right over here. He's going to come straight down the field, go straight across. This wide receiver will clear everything out deep. This is the same play the Dolphins and Strock hit a little earlier. Play action. The one at the top clears it out. The one below squares across, clears everybody out. Good play by the Oilers.
Drew Hill, the one-time Los Angeles Ram, providing Houston with a genuine deep threat. First down now at the Miami 32-yard line. That's Woolfolk coming to the right. And here's Moriarty. Picked up a couple. Mark Brown and Bud Brown combining on the stop. And we're told that Pete Rose just tied Ty Cobb's record, doing it against the Cubs in Chicago. So coming off a very rough day yesterday. Took a couple looking. Pete able to tie.
He doesn't like that, does he?
All right, Moon is now 11 for 15. He has a second down and 8. Woolfolk and Edwards, the running backs. That's Edwards to the 25.
You know, Mark, getting back to that long completion that moved the Oilers downfield as we look at these scores, a lot of times a quarterback will be standing on the sideline and watch the other team's offense and see a play that the other team's offense will run and will remind him of, hey, we've got that play and I like it. I think I'll run it. Houston ran the same play and got him out of the hole.
I'm so disappointed to hear that. I thought you guys just come up with these things. It's terrible. For third and 3, Jackie Shipp with a big play, stopping Stan Edwards. Jackie Shipp closing the gap, and it sets a 4th down and 3 with 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining, 4th quarter. The Oilers trailing 23-19.
Here's the thing right here. You're 4 points down, 2.5 minutes to go. Zendejas has been kicking field goals very well. They're not going to kick the field goal, going for the first down and touchdown.
Again, Woolfolk peels to the right. And Moon goes the other way and has the first down. And suddenly, Moon looking for Tim Smith. Langford on the stop. And a first down for Houston to keep the drive going.
Smith has led the Oilers in receiving the last 2 years. Good moves. 69 catches last year. He goes back. The timing is perfect. First down for the Oilers.
A first down from the 15 with 2 minutes left. 4th quarter. We'll be back in a moment, but first, here's another one of those fantastic finishes.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes, 1983. It's 24-21, San Francisco over Atlanta on a rainy night in Georgia. Just 2 seconds left for the Falcons as Steve Bartkowski uncorks one high and deep toward the end zone. Uh-oh, Billy Johnson falls down, but he pops back up just as the ball is tipped to him. He scrambles right and lunges toward the goal line for what may be the winning touchdown. It's a late call, but there it is, touchdown.
Every time you enjoy beverages from aluminum cans, remember, those cans are worth saving. They can be recycled and made into brand new aluminum cans. So don't throw your aluminum cans away. They're valuable, but only if you save them. Find out who's raising money through recycling in your neighborhood and save yours for them. Remember, recycling is another good reason to buy your beverages in aluminum cans.
Shula and Hugh Campbell have the wheels turning on the sideline with 2 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. Remember, Hugh Campbell went 0-10 as he opened up his National Football League coaching last year, and then the Houston Oilers finished at 3-13. Don Shula, who has come through what he calls the most frustrating and disruptive preseason camp in his coaching career. Now in a situation with the Dolphins on top, but Houston on a drive.
It's been very tough, camp, very frustrating, and it's not over with yet. He still has Brudzinski and Blackwood out of camp. He has some injured ball players. Coming to Houston to play the Oilers, you would think that they were going to win the football game. However, you let this team back in the ball game, a lot of good young players, they think they can win right now.
Woolfolk first down at the 15. And the handoff to Woolfolk. He gets down to the 11. We're set for another update. Let's go to Bob Costas at NFL 85.
Marv, this was the scene at Wrigley Field a moment ago. The second hit of the day for Pete Rose. He's 2 for 3, and it's only in the top of the 5th. He is drawn even with Ty Cobb, and he is likely to have at least 2 more at-bats remaining to break it.
All right, Bob. And Pete Rose was not scheduled to play today. 2nd and 7. Just outside the 11. Moriarty gets inside the 10. Jackie Shipp on the tackle. We are down to 1 minute and 15 left. 4th quarter.
And they're in a 4-down zone here. They're not going to kick a field goal. They need 4 or 5 yards for a first down. You have 2 downs to pick it up, and that may have some influence on what play you call on 3rd down.
And that missed extra point back in the 2nd quarter is now looming large. Zendejas had it batted away by Doug Betters. It is a 3rd and 4 from the 9. Moon saw some daylight, throws it, and it's broken up. Judson got a piece of it. The intended receiver was Hill. There's Hill, number 85.
That was close, Marv. Almost made the completion. If he hadn't have had some problems in the backfield, I think he could have threw the ball a little bit earlier and had the completion. Here we'll take another look. Good protection. Everybody's blocked. He starts to run. Now he sees a man open. That used to be the way I threw him. A duck. Houston's going to take a timeout, talk about it. This is a big play. Now what you do here is you go over and talk about what the defense has been showing you in this situation and who you think you can get the ball to. Normally it'd be a back out of the backfield for a first down or your favorite wide receiver.
Only 39 seconds left, and Houston down to what could be its final play.
Introducing a new truck experience, the all-new 1986 Mazda B2000 LX. At $69.95, it's a unique combination of luxury and sportiness. Standard features include radials, chrome wheels, and chrome rear step bumper, plus bucket seats, a 5-speed tachometer, and an AM/FM stereo. What a luxury to get all this sportiness for just $69.95. $1,100 less than Toyotas and Nissan sport trucks. Mazda LX.
Strength, pride, tradition. For centuries, the Clydesdales have been known as a special breed. Today, the Clydesdales symbolize Budweiser's dedication to quality, superior ingredients, exclusive beechwood aging, and a distinctively clean, crisp taste only Budweiser can offer. Quality taste, because this Bud's for you.
39 seconds to go, 4th quarter. A 4th and 4 from the 9. They have Tim Smith lined up in the backfield. Dolphins leading by 4. Moon bothers but gets it away, and it's broken up. The flag is down. That was Fulton Walker covering Butch Woolfolk. Spelled it out off the interference on Walker. They'll place it at the 1, and it'll be 1st and goal with 33 seconds left.
The Dolphins were blitzing, safety blitz. Moon knows he can't block it, but here's the interference. Right there, the receiver is making an attempt to get the football, and you cannot significantly hinder the progress of a player to make the catch. He obviously was not looking back to the ball, was the defensive man, and ran into it. There's no question on that call.
Warren Moon and the Oilers looking to pull off an upset on opening day here in Houston. The Oilers opening up with a brutal schedule. They have the Redskins next week, and it does not get any better over the first 5 weeks. 1st and goal from the 1. And Moriarty is stopped. is stopped with 28 seconds remaining. Jay Brophy on the hit. It'll be a 2nd and goal from the 1. Dolphins leading it 23-19.
Well, the Oilers now have 1 timeout left. They have 28 seconds, and it's 2nd down. They can run this play and call timeout, run another play. If they throw a pass that's incomplete, they'll get a 4th chance. The only chance for the Dolphins is to stop them. Here you'll see on the sideline, Moon is saying, what do you want to run? What do you like? Again, if you're going to pass, this would be a good chance to pass because it's 2nd down and they're looking for a run, but you can't be sacked. You've got to get rid of the football and either complete it in the end zone or throw an incompletion.
At one point, Don Shula and the Dolphins had a 13-0 lead, but Houston came from behind when Rozier went in from 2 yards out in the early portion of this 4th quarter. The Oilers led 19-16, then Strock came on for Marino and hit Duper on a 67-yard pass play to give it back to Miami, 23-19. Seconds remaining. 2nd and goal from the 1. Rozier and Moriarty, the running backs. Rozier, touchdown. Rozier, in his first game as a Houston Oiler, has given the Oilers, I should say, a 25-23 lead. Now the point after attempt by Zendejas. Houston by 3, 26-23 as you take another look at Mike Rozier.
Munchak, 63, is a good block on Brophy, and Moriarty, number 30, gets a good block on the outside. You'll see right here, 2 good blocks, 63 Munchak, and Rozier just lowers his shoulder. You have to beat one man to get it in the end zone. Marv, very impressed with this young Oiler offense and defense. Young team coming into the game. We said only 6 touchdowns in 5 offensive and 5 preseason games. It had problems scoring inside the 10, 15-yard line. Not today. This game will go a long way into the growth of this young team.
A long drive by Houston, 10 plays, 80 yards, consumed 4.5 minutes.
It's not over yet, though. Hampton's been running kickoffs back very well. 2 timeouts left for the Dolphins. All they need is a field goal to tie.
Which is why that extra point by Zendejas was very significant right here, because should Miami get into a field goal range, it would only provide them with a tie. They could not win it. And now here is Lee Johnson to do the kickoff honors instead of Tony Zendejas. Lorenzo Hampton to the 10. And a good tackle as he reached out to the 20. And the clock stopped with 19 seconds left, 4th quarter. Richard Johnson, the Oilers' 2nd #1 draft pick, who has seen limited action today, doing it for the most part on special teams with that low tackle of Hampton.
You got to get the ball to the speedsters. You got to get it to the Claytons, the Dupers, and maybe Nat Moore, where they can pick up the football and run for some yardage and then get out of bounds or call a timeout.
Clayton to the near side, Moore in the slot. And here is Strock. Middle screen. Tony Nathan. Out across the 35. You see the clock running now. Stop. The timeout has been called. 16-yard pickup. But only 9 seconds remaining as both the Dolphins and Oilers are down to 1 timeout apiece. So Miami calling for time. Well, who would have thought, as you look at the total yardage of these two clubs going into today's play, you would not think that Houston would have 391 and Miami 346.
Miami's playing with not the real Dan Marino. He showed up in the same uniform, but I imagine the more he is around the training camp and the more he gets some practice in, those numbers will go up very highly.
And this Astrodome crowd of close to 50,000 on its feet. They have particularly enjoyed the second half with Houston pulling off a surprise.
What the Dolphins have to do here, Marv, is they have to throw the ball deep down the sideline and catch it for an out and then step out of bounds, or they have 1 timeout left. If you do complete it deep over the middle, you have to call a timeout. But I don't know if 9 seconds. I'd rather throw the ball out of bounds or the Hail Mary pass deep down the field.
Chant of defense from the crowd. And Struck goes the short route once again. The fumble recovered as time has run out. I don't know, was that an attempt by the Dolphins to keep the game going?
That was a hook and ladder, I believe. Struck obviously feeling he wants the timeout, was hollering for it, and was not awarded it by Pat Haggerty. But that's history. The Oilers have won.
And it's the first time they've beaten the Dolphins since back in 1979. Houston upsetting Miami 26-23. Marv Albert with Bob Greasy saying so long from the Astrodome in Houston.